Let's move on to main topic number 2. Chris, what is our second main topic today?
This question comes from Patreon supporter Craig Wooten, so thanks for supporting, Craig. Hi, John. I plan to catch the Golden Finch this Thursday night when the new movies open, but found it won't be open until Friday. This is the third film this year I've seen do this, the others including The Kitchen and Blinded by the Light. Is this trying to early kill word of mouth? And also, doesn't it show the studio has no faith in the film? Does it show that there's no faith? Do you think that's just...
I mean, it's weird because, look, back once upon a time, there was a day when movies came out on Fridays, and they still officially do. But Star Wars, the Phantom Menace is coming out. And it probably happened before that too. But what they would do is, okay, they can't open until Friday. So what we'll do is we'll have a Thursday night, technically Friday morning, 12:01 a.m. screening. And it used to be just a couple years ago when we were still at AMC, midnight screenings was still a thing. We would all, like if it was a really big movie, they would do a midnight screening and a bunch of us would go to midnight and be kind of zombie-eyed the next day at work or at school or whatever. But we go to these midnight screenings. And then what happened was, it wasn't just the super big movies. Then even the relatively big movies would do midnight screenings. Then pretty soon almost every movie did. And then all of a sudden, midnight screen became an 11 p.m. screening. It's like, what? How are they doing that? It's 11 p.m. instead of midnight. Well, that makes it easier. I can go to bed earlier before, if I got to work tomorrow. And then 11 p.m. became 10 p.m. And then 10 p.m. became 9. And then 9 became 8. And now it has become standard that when we go to the movies, it was back, we still had iPhones. iPhones were still around when there were not Thursday night screenings, regular Thursday night screenings. So it's not that long ago. But now it is de facto the standard that when a movie opens on Friday the 7th, what it really means is that it actually opens on Thursday the 6th. And we know that. However, as they've pointed out in the message, we've actually seen a couple of films this year that did not do Thursday night. Technically, what they call it is previews. And I remember the first one that I noticed was The Kitchen. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
With Melissa McCarthy?
Yeah.
The Kitchen. I was so unbelievably excited for that movie. And I remember when I saw, I was desperately trying to book my tickets because I skipped the press screenings, which I do for most movies. I was going on trying to book my Thursday night tickets and I couldn't find it anywhere. I was like, wow, are they not playing it at the AMC Burbank 16? Fine, I'll look at the AMC Burbank 6. Nothing. AMC Burbank 8? Nothing. Yes, there are 3 AMC theaters within a 10-minute walk of my place. It's kind of crazy. They're all within 2 blocks of each other. Anyway, and then I realized they're not doing Thursday night screenings. And it's just that it was the first time I had heard of that in forever. In forever, it's the first time I heard about that. So then another one did it. I think it was Blinded by the Light did it. And now we have the Goldfinch doing it. So the question becomes, is this a red light warning, or a red flag warning, I should say, that the studio doesn't have faith in this? Now, I absolutely believe that when they don't do press screenings, well, that's an obvious one, or when they hold off the review embargoes until the day before the movie comes out. It's not 100% of the time that the movie sucks at that point, but most of the time when they don't lift the review embargo till the day before a movie comes out, that's a major red flag that they don't believe in the film. So with the new standard being that Thursday night previews are kind of the norm, is it an indicator that not doing it on a Thursday night shows that a studio isn't confident in it? Well, let's look at the 3 films we're talking about. The Kitchen, Blinded by the Light, and Goldfinch. The Kitchen sucked ass. No, really. I can drop the trousers, bend over right now and say, pucker up right there. That movie sucked. And I was so stoked for that. I was so convinced that movie was going to be great, but it's all kinds of awful. Okay, so yeah. I haven't seen Goldfinch yet. Rob, I know you were excited about this, and I know the studio is excited about it too, because they were lauding this thing at CinemaCon a lot, but the reviews are coming out and they're pretty low. Mm-hmm. They're pretty bad. Okay, so maybe there's that. But then you've got Blinded by the Light. Everybody loved it. Everybody loves it. Critics love it. Audiences love it. So I don't know that I go on to say, I don't know if it's a marketing thing or just a technicality thing or a logistics thing. But getting a couple of movies that don't actually do a Thursday night, I'm not ready at this point to say that then that's a sign that they're not confident in the film. I think we need, a sample size of about 15 or 20 movies to make any sort of a guess at that. Right now, I can only think of 3 off the top of my head. Maybe there have been a couple of others, but considering one of them was, celebrated, I'm not ready to say that. I'm right now, I'm going to write it off more to probably something logistical that I just can't think of. Rob, do you think this now, can you call it a trend if it's just 3 movies? But let's call it a minor trend right now of a couple of movies now avoiding and skipping the Thursday night previews. Do you think that's any sort of an indication that maybe the studios don't believe in the film, or do you think, or attribute it to something else?
I think it's a combination of things here. First of all, as we know, like you pointed out, when we go see movies like The Phantom Menace 20 years ago and they have these 12:01 evening screenings, these were positioned as events. And these were event movies that people had huge built-in fan bases. Everybody knew they were coming. There was a fervor about these films. And I think that you have to have that kind of a movie to get people excited. And there's a certain kind of cinema goer or fan that's going to turn out for a movie on a Thursday night. Because most people go to the movies on the weekends anyway. Even Friday night people, it's either date night or something. So when you have a movie like an Endgame or a Star Wars or a John Wick or something that has a built-in fan base, that's when you're going to get your Thursday movies. Movies like Blinded by the Light, those are indie darlings. Most people don't know about those movies. I mean, you open up that film on a Thursday night, people are like, what? You have to have a movie that has awareness on social media that people know is opening. The Goldfinch is an adaptation. It's the first adaptation of one of my favorite writers, Donna Tartt. It's her 3rd novel. She's written 3. It's her 3rd novel. Hasn't been doing great in reviews, but I don't think that there's a lot of people, at least I don't have a friend that's like, dude, Donna Tartt, man, I've got to get all Goldfinched up tonight, brah. I mean, it's going to be rad. I mean, I wish it was The Secret History or maybe A Little Friend, but nobody is clamoring to see the Goldfinch. I am. Not so much after reading the reviews. I'm crushed by this. But it's not something that people are going to roll out on a Thursday night and be like packing the theaters to see. It's just not. I don't think it's necessarily an indication of quality. With the Goldfinch, the reviews, and it's coming out of Toronto, are up and down. So that might have been part of it. Studios know. They know if they've got a rock and roll extravaganza or they've got some, indie band playing in a bar strumming on a guitar. I mean, you have to understand your audience and you have to understand your product. And not all film products generate Thursday night screenings. It really depends what it is.
Well, I mean, the question here, guys, is what do you think about this? Like right now, I'm thinking it's something else. It's something logistical or something like that. I don't think there's enough there, but maybe you do. What do you think about that? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right.